Four governors from the South-South geopolitical zone of the country has met with President Muhammadu Buhari behind closed doors at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja. The governors are Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom State, Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, Seriake Dixon of Bayelsa State, and Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. The governors, who are all members of the opposition People's Democratic Party, entered the villa at once, sported in different native attire, except Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, who wore a pair of suits. Briefing status correspondent after the meeting, Bayelsa State Governor Seriake Dixon, who spoke for the governor, said they came to the villa to have an audience with the president to discuss issues pertinent to the country and pertinent to their respective states. Governor Seriake Dixon, who said they had a robust discussion with the president, however, refused comment when asked if it has to do with the 2019 general elections. However, there are insinuations in some quarters that the PDP governors are planning to sign a pact with the incumbent president for a win-win situation for both parties in the forthcoming general elections. From Abuja, I'm Festus Ejirog Enefifen for Ben Television. President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday in Abuja said Nigeria's democracy is steadily improving with deeper understanding of the culture and tenets among the people and strengthening of the institutions that guarantee free, fair and credible elections. Receiving Governor General of Canada, Her Excellency Right Honorable Julie Payette at the presidential villa, President Buhari said he saw the evolving strength of democracy in the country by contesting for elections 3 times before winning at the 4th trial in 2015. President Buhari told the Governor General that Nigeria had been learning from the mistakes of those who practiced democracy for a longer period and by looking inward at his own peculiarities. In her remarks, the Governor General said Nigeria and Canada enjoy a warm and strong relationship that has translated into ease of migration, large trade relations and cultural exchanges.
I am here with a formidable delegation from Canada to reiterate our delight to be a key partner with Nigeria. Our visit is really focused on 3 themes and sectors for which Nigeria is already very rich. It's young people, its innovative spirit, and the use of technology for advancing its prosperity and making sure that its richness and growth are for everyone. Many opportunities exist for deeper cooperation. There is, as you mentioned to me in our conversation, there is a lot of room for growth for the bilateral relation between Nigeria and Canada. Fortunately, we've already have a strong base and we will continue to build on this. Nigeria is Canada's largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa. And as well, Nigeria is the largest investor from Africa in Canada. Clearly, security and stability in Nigeria are vital for this entire region, and Canada is committed to cooperate and work together with Nigeria on this front as well.
Right Honorable Payette, who is an astronaut, while mentioning the unique nature of Nigerians in diaspora, said it was important for nations to put resources together to start exploring the benefits of space in providing solutions to some problems on Earth.
It's clear that Nigerians are very generous with their time and with their heart. And we know that for a fact in Canada because we have such an impressive Nigerian-Canadian diaspora. Nigeria is home to incredibly deep and varied history and tradition. Beautiful landscape. We saw it yesterday on landing, and I have had the opportunity to see it from above. I'll come back to that. Nigeria is an important regional power, the most populous country in Africa, the largest economy, an influential center of arts and culture, dance, literature, folklore, music, and film. Our 2 countries have been friends and partners for decades, and we would like to continue in that fashion. We have many common interests in matters as diverse as education, innovation, trade, culture, and sports. we are not the powerhouse in soccer that you are, but in hockey, I think we have better grounds than you do. At the heart of our relationship, Mr. President, are the ties between our two people. And they are on the rise, with more than 10,000 Nigerian students studying currently in Canada, the most of any sub-Saharan African country. We also have this diaspora I mentioned, and in our delegation we have the blessing of having a professor of law at the University of Ottawa who is from Nigerian origin.
The Governor General noted that the world would achieve more by de-emphasizing geographical differences and refocusing its energy on the communality of humanity, pointing out that from space, one can only see an Earth without borders. Right Honorable Payeti said her visit was about showcasing youth innovation and technology, adding that Canada would like to partner with Nigeria in the ongoing diversification of the economy. From Abuja, I am Festus Ejiroge Nefifen for Benin Television.
As preparation for 2019 presidential election continue to gather momentum, Atiku Abubakar Presidential Campaign Organization has said that the proposed restructuring of the country is much more important to the people of Southwest. The Director General of the campaign organization, Otumba Gbenga Daniel, said the restructuring of Nigeria has been canvassed by the People Democratic Party presidential flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar, should be embraced. Gbenga Daniel stated this in a chat with Ben TV in Abuja.
If you understand our people in the Southwest, they are quite principled. And what is more important and paramount to the people of the Southwest today is the promise of Atiku to restructure the Federation. And for the people of the Southwest, yes, it could be good if they get juicy positions as well as part of it. But I think that the bigger picture for our people in the Southwest is to be able to get Atiku Abubakar to sign to his promise to properly restructure this federation in a way that everybody have equal opportunity, good potentials to develop at their own paces, and that's really where we're headed to.
Speaking on the dust raised by choice of former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi as running mate to Atiku Abubakar, Otumba Gbenga Daniel said the choice of Peter Obi was in the best interest of the nation.
Coming to where the VP speaks from, my own opinion is that, yes, it could have been Southwest, but there is also another perspective. I'm from the Southwest, so quite naturally, if I want to be selfish, I would probably say that it must come from the Southwest. But when you begin to look at the bigger Nigerian picture, fact of the case is that the people of the Southeast feel marginalized, rightly or wrongly. We come to perception again. They feel that there is still something that they have not been forgiven for. Maybe because about the Civil War and all of the things that happened at that time. And since the days of Ekweme, we haven't had somebody from the Southeast rising to number 2 or even number 1. So there is indeed a clear present agitation. And if you really therefore want to begin to think of how this country can come together, the earlier you begin to address this perceived marginalization, the better.
Meanwhile, about 75 presidential candidates will be participating in the 2019 presidential election in Nigeria.
The Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative (NITI) says the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and other stakeholders in the industry are yet to remit $22.06 billion and 481.75 billion naira to the Federation account. NAITI disclosed this in its audit report released at the National Conference on Remedial Issues in Abuja. The report named other stakeholders to include oil companies in the oil and gas sector and the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC. In the report, the unremitted fund was part of the remedial issues contained in the 2010 to 2015 audit report, yet to be resolved. A breakdown of the money indicated that oil and gas producing companies owed the sum of $152.69 million and 5.2 billion naira, and companies involved in offshore processing contracts $498.6 million. The report further indicated that the country lost $3.038 billion and 69.997 billion naira from crude oil production, processing, and transportation.
A motion seeking to urge President Muhammadu Buhari to appoint a representative of the Southeast into the National Defense Council and National Security Council hit the rock and divide the Senate as lawmakers resolved to stand down the matter due to the conflict constitutional interpretation during the debate in the Red Chamber. A Southeast Senator, Victor Ume, representing Anambra Central, through a motion on Tuesday plenary, advocated the inclusion of a Southeast representative among the security chiefs, adding that it will go a long way in assuaging the feeling of the isolation and neglect.
This issue is a very important one. There are so many qualified officers from the Southeast that can occupy this position. And in view of the fact that the president is empowered to appoint any other person to the membership of the National Defense Council and National Security Council, apart from being a service chief, it is important that the Mr. President should leverage on this empowerment by the Constitution to appoint from the array of qualified officers from the Southeast geopolitical zone.
Back in his position, another Southeast Senator, Inaya Abaribe from Abia, who harmed on the fairness and equity in the country affair, also called on the Federal Executive Council to ensure that every part of Nigeria is represented in the running of the country.
Mr. President does not have an option. What we have seen has been a deliberate, I repeat, a deliberate misreading of the Constitution as to the powers of Mr. President to decide on his own to determine who he can appoint.
Deputy Senate Majority Leader, Senator Bala Ibn Nahala, who stood against the motion, drew the attention of the Senate to the provision of Section 218 and 219 of the Nigerian Constitution, which says it is within the power of the President to appoint who to work with.
The position taken by my friend, my brother, distinguished Senator Ume, is a gross misunderstanding of the provision of the Constitution, sir. There is a clear distinction, sir, between what is called the officer corps and appointment. And let me tell you, sir, when this Constitution was enacted, the military never wanted a situation where it will be held responsible for certain actions. And it wanted those actions to be determined by a representative of the people, because they knew that the Constitution has constituted what is called the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the House of Representatives. Mr. President, let us not forget that Section 219 has taken care of the powers of the President under Section 217 and 218.
To this end, the Senate President Bukola Saraki took the legislative notice of the motion after extensive debate, adding that it is pertinent for Senate to be properly guided before taking any decision due to the varying interpretation of the Constitution on the matter.
Motion really is not a motion at the end they will be able to get a consensus because of different interpretation of the Constitution. the points have been, as highlighted by the mover motion, has been well highlighted. And I think that in my own view, this is not a motion that will be able to reach a consensus on, with all due respect.
However, Senator Victor Ume, after the plenary, while addressing the Senate press corps, said the motion noted the proscription of IPOD by the federal government as a result of the absence of the Southeast region representation in the National Defense Council, with argument that quick decision of the Federal Executive Council on IPOD called for inclusion of the Southeast zone in the security apparatus of the country.
The case of the Southeast with IPOB was a case where there was no representation from anybody from that zone. IPOB was immediately branded a terrorist organization, and they took a decision to go to court to proscribe it. There was no voice to say, no, these people are not terrorist organization. They don't belong to terrorist organization. There was nobody. It was convenient for them to reach that quick decision because there was nobody to say, no, this is not the reason.
From National Assembly Complex, Abuja, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting.